shy. I was the, oh, I'm sorry. Christy wanted me to remind everybody that we record these for our folks who can't be with us to watch later. So we are recording. So we can all, we've got it. Again, thank you all for joining us. We are incredibly excited and glad to get with you, particularly this early. And we'll do a couple more of these as we work our way toward the summer. I want to start by just letting you know that we are putting together really an outstanding team. And I'm going to introduce a few of those folks in just a minute. Before I talk about our team, we're joined by Roland Creamer, who is a good friend of Pipsico and serves as our lead assessor. So for those of you who were with us week 1 last year, you may have seen Roland and his team giving us some feedback and some helpful tips, which we really appreciated. And Roland, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you being with us. Let me start by just letting you know that we are totally excited about the team that we're putting together. There are going to be a lot of faces that are familiar to you if you were with us last year. I'm going to start by phone. We have Bob Buter, who will be our program director this summer. Wes Sherman, who's with us tonight, will be the camp commissioner. Christy Cooper is our business manager / assistant scout executive, and she's with us again tonight. Eric Hoyt will be our camp medic again, and he joins us again this evening. AJ Vasta will be our trading post guru again this year. I think Caleb is with us. Caleb Anderson is going to be he's going to move over from the climbing tower to be our nature director. I think I saw Matt Russell join us. He will be our climbing director at Pipsico this year. And then also joining us is Wes Parker, who is our vice president of camping for the Tidewater Council and also helps run the specialty programs and deals with a lot of our back office registration administrative work with Black Pug. And I'm trying to check real quick. Did I miss anybody else from our team? I think that's everybody from
Rebecca.
the Pipsico
I think Rebecca
team.
is in here.
Is Rebecca? Oh, Rebecca is with us. So Rebecca will be back as our handicraft director this summer. And as you keep hearing, we have the coming back, which is really outstanding. I can share with you that at this point, we have had 61 folks apply to work at Pipsico this summer. That's like 30 more than we had at this point last year. So we're super excited about that. We are in the range of 38 to 40 of those people are returning from our staff last year, which is a substantial number more returning staffers than we had last year, including, I think Sunshine may have just joined us. So Sunshine is moving over from archery to be our director in Scoutcraft this summer. I think I saw him just join. So again, super excited about the team we're putting together. The second thing we're super excited about is that we're not having to do a lot of the sort of funky things we had to do last year in order to meet local health inspectors, governors, and our ERM committee's mandates. And so what that means is from a programs perspective, we are planning to not have a cohort model. We're planning to not have 3-hour block sessions like we had to last year in order to keep contact tracing. And so in most ways, it's going to be a return to normal scout camp operations. I will say on behalf of our team, we're really proud of what we pulled off last year, given the constraints that we had. With the cohort model, the 3-hour blocks and all those other things. But we are really raring to go to provide sort of a normal, more normal program to scouts. So with that, I'm going to work through a little bit of an agenda for some of our folks to give you some updates, and then we will take questions from you toward the end. On our health update, let me turn it over to Eric next to just give you an overview of health and safety.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to see a bunch of familiar faces on here. That's awesome. There's been a bunch of changes recently with CDC and VDH guidelines about COVID-19 and mitigation strategies and things like that. As a result, I had a conversation this afternoon with Dr. James Hatcher, who is he's our physician that advises council and camp. And there's a couple of things that he and I discussed that I want to share with you all. So first of all, at this particular point, we are still asking for you to do the COVID-19 screening pre-arrival to camp. So that is the typical information that you've been seeing, where before you arrive at camp, check with campers, make sure that nobody has a fever, nobody has a new onset of cough, nobody has any kind of gastrointestinal issues or any of those things that we've been kind of watching all along. So we're asking you to still do that. We don't really feel at this time there's a need for you to do any kind of 14 or 10-day quarantining like we had last year. It's just more of being aware of general health and being on the lookout for any issues. As far as masks are concerned, we're at this point following the VDH and CDC guidelines. Our particular area is in a low transmission. So if you live in this area, you know that many of the school districts have been dropping their mask mandates and making them optional. And so we're kind of following along in that same lead, that right now masks at the camp are optional. They can choose to wear them or not. I would be remiss if I didn't point out to you that if something changes in the transmission rate in our area, then that would cause us to maybe have to adjust our procedures quickly. So what I mean by that is, if you have anything to do with our winter camp experience, you understand that we quickly reinstated the masks inside the dining hall when you were moving around and in the trading posts and small areas. And so that's what I mean. Like if there is an issue, we may have to do something like that. So having said that, even though right now, masks are optional and there's no need to be worrying about wearing a mask unless you choose to, we still encourage that the campers bring masks with them to camp. And one is for the reason I just gave you. The other reason is, if a camper, a leader, scout, whatever, comes to the health lodge and has some kind of concerning symptoms, we're going to want them to mask up immediately. Because one thing that the masks are definitely good at doing is preventing the spread of illness if someone is symptomatic. So we're gonna ask that the campers still bring masks just in case. Okay. I want to make sure that we prepare you for the fact that campers may be sent home. One of the best ways that we can prevent any kind of illness, not just COVID, but norovirus, any other kind of virus that can go through a camp, is to promptly react when a camper comes in and shows some kind of symptoms. We've been very good and very fortunate that we've had leaders and campers, scouts, that have been very proactive when they have not felt well or they've known somebody didn't feel well, coming to the health lodge and getting assessed and sending them home so that we didn't have any kind of spread of a virus of any kind. So we do want you, as leaders, to make sure the parents understand that if we call, Mr. Shive or I call and say, hey, we need, this camper to go home, there is a really good reason for it. And we're not doing it just without, careful consideration of the consequences. Dining hall, like I mentioned just a moment ago, in the past, we've had masks whenever you were standing, moving around. You could take them off while you were eating. Right now, Dr. Hatcher and I feel pretty comfortable that, like I said, masks optional, and there's no real need for that. But that, of course, is also subject to what our enterprise risk management folks in our council suggest and say. But so right now, we're not concerned about necessarily having our masks in the buildings or in the dining hall. And lastly, The annual health form needs to be completed, all parts A, B, and C. And so now is a great time to get on getting those physicals done for part C, and making sure that's completed. Remember, they're good for 1 calendar year. So for example, if they were getting their physical tomorrow on March the 2nd, it would be good until the end of March of next year. So that's kind of how those forms work. And to speed things up during the check-in process, it's very helpful if you screen those health forms ahead of time, make sure that they are complete, that they've been signed, that everything's there, and you have them in a folder or a binder, it doesn't really matter, but to not put them in those plastic sleeves, because when you put them in the plastic sleeves, they have to be removed and then they have to be put back in, and that takes time. And so we really want to streamline that. I can just flip through them as quickly as possible and address any kind of concerns that we may come across, like allergies or things like that. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. And at the end during question and answer, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to help as much as I can.
Great, Eric, thanks for the update. That's terrific. And as always, on top of all of our safety issues. So appreciate your leadership there. Bob Buter is going to talk just a minute about some of the program items. So Bob, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, John. As John pointed out to you, we are going away from the cohort model and the 3-hour sessions. We're going back to what we've traditionally done. We will have 6 sessions, 3 before lunch, 3 in the afternoon. Most of the badges will be single session badges, but some of them, they are the double session badges. We will not be using blue cards again this summer. We will be doing Black Pug, and what is it, the 26th of March at 10 o'clock, Black Pug will open for merit badge registration. Evening program, of course, last year we really didn't have anything. We will be getting that program going this year. Of course, there will be the Rumble in the Aqua Dome. We will have things like the totem shit and the fireman shit, various things for the guys to do, hopefully get some competitions going for the guys. So, got a good selection of merit badges, and I think it's going to be a great summer. Any questions for me at this time?
Why don't we hold questions just till the end, Bob?
Okay.
Well, that's all right, no problem.
Sure.
We'll just hold them till the end for a minute. And when we say guys, we mean guys and girls, of course. Specialty programs, Wes Parker, let me just say before Wes jumps on, the specialty programs, PEX, Sailhampton Roads, Scuba, have been filling up incredibly fast. So some of you may already, in fact, have young people on the waiting list. And Wes, let me turn it over to you to talk a little bit about those programs.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, so we've had a great interest level for our summer adventure specialty programs this summer. We got a good lineup. We've got our scuba program coming back, our PEX program coming back, and then of course our Sailhampton Roads. The Specialty Adventure Leaders Guide is available online. You can see it on the Black Pug registration site and also in the resource bank on pipsicobsa.com. We are actively working to try to fill and get people that are on current wait list or will be put on wait lists. We're looking to fill those spots. It's just some programs, particularly like scuba, for example, it's all about an instructor ratio. So it's just things that we need to be cognizant of for that. Right now, week 2, if you have not signed up for summer camp yet, we would strongly encourage you to sign up for week 2. That has our greatest opening for our summer base camp operations, as well as our high adventure, specialty adventure opportunities. So if you have any questions, we'll take those at the end as far as the adventure programs, but it's shaping up to be a really awesome summer.
Wes, while you have the floor, on the Black Pug, if it says that one of the special programs is full, how does somebody get their young person on the wait list?
Yeah, so you would just register them like you would normally do. There's going to be a button that says add to wait list instead of adding a participant. When you add to the wait list, it will basically put you in a wait list pattern. It will not take any money for that individual's registration process. But that's it. Just be added to the wait list.
Great. Thank you, Wes. I'm not sure if Lisa Miller was able to join us. Lisa runs our dining hall. Lisa, are you on? Yeah, I didn't think so. I think her one announcement is to be thinking early about your young people, your scouts who may have an allergy. It does not do us a lot of good to tell us about the allergy when you check in. So as we get closer to camp, we'll be giving you information so that you can let us know about your scouts' food allergies. There's Lisa. You want to talk about it, Lisa? I was making up stuff for you, so you're the expert. We're just talking about food allergies.
Give me a second to leave the room that I'm in. Sorry. I thought I was on later. So you'll be receiving a form for allergies that I need filled out for each youth or adult that has a food allergy or a religious exemption. It's not about preferences, it's actual allergies that we need to know about. And I need those as soon as I can get them because supply chain issues are real. So as soon as I can get those, that's great. Please, please, please grill your parents. Do not let them show up to camp without or with a surprise allergy for us. And I will have Christy get those out as soon as possible. But that's all I have.
Okay, great. So those forms you haven't seen yet, the allergy forms, but the allergy forms, we will get those around to you and we can get those posted on our website also so that you can have easy access to those. Lisa, thank you for stepping out of your activity to join us. I appreciate it.
I'm at a baseball draft.
Okay, so I mentioned our hiring and how that's going. Update on the camp and camp investments. We've got a lot going on at Pipsico thanks to our camping committee. I can talk about a few of them, and Wes Parker, please jump in to supplement them. But by the time you get to Pipsico this summer, 6 of our buildings will have brand new roofs on them. The interior of the trading post has been, I'm going to say, remodeled. AJ will laugh. We're still working on the roof and the floor, but the interior is remodeled, and that will be completed before you get to summer camp, resident camp this summer. So we continue to invest in the property on top of the $100,000 we invested in the pool last year and other projects, some of which are smaller. There'll be some new educational boards at the nature area and at the fishing pier. And we have some work going on also at the Scoutcraft shelter. And Wes, did I leave anything out?
So the only thing I would say, because this happened in the fall already, so it's done, it's not actually new yet, but we do have high-speed internet now available, guest internet network inside the dining hall as well as in the surrounding fields. So you can go out there and live stream to Facebook, the Rumble in the Aquadome, to get all of your parents cheering on the competitors during that competition.
Great. I can't believe I forgot that one, Wes. That was a long-standing battle. So that's terrific. Okay. From our team, anything else that we wanted to convey to folks before we dive into questions? I think we've hit all of our topics. Yeah. Great. So Wes, just before you go, the first basic question is explain Black Pug. And we can explain that it's our registration system, but Wes, why don't you go into a little more detail?
Yep. So Black Pug is our online registration software platform. If I should have been prepared. Sorry, I was mobile coming from my day job that pays for my scouting addiction. But in a second here, I'm going to log on and I'm going to show you via screen. But basically, if you go to pipsicobsa.com and then go on to register for summer camp, there's a giant register online logo or picture. You click on that, that's going to take you to scouting, 5 nights scouting scoutingevent.com/596/Pipsico 2022. You click on the register button, and that's going to take of whichever week. There's a big red thing. We don't necessarily like this, but it's not necessarily something we can control. There's a big red thing that says limit 1 registration per unit. All that really means is for our summer camp activities, we just want 1 single point of contact for a unit. Our other weekend events, like if you're from the same unit, like Cub Scout Family Camp or Guns and Grillin', you can have 6 different people from the same unit registering, and we'll merge the registrations at the end. But for summer camps, we like just 1 point of contact, 1 registration for that process. So you go in there, select your individual registrations that you want to be a part of, and then go in. Right now, what's currently set up, there's been a lot of questions.
Recording in progress.
So hold. There we go. Okay, so there's been a lot of questions regarding payment plans. Sorry, you all should be able to see my screen now. Thank you for that. If you need information regarding the payment plan, right here on the main homepage, if you click on view pricing, this is our payment breakdown. It can be a little confusing at first glance. Again, the initial deposit that we need from you, which started in September, is just $25 per person. We need an additional $100 for a total of $125 per person in order for you to be able to register for merit badges when they open. So beginning Friday, the 18th of March, that's just the arbitrary thing we have set up in the system as far as payments are concerned, only payments. We just wanted to require people a week before merit badge opens to put that in there. You'll be doing that. And then lastly, the balance is due by the early bird registration date. Now, if you don't want to pay the early bird rate, you can pay up to, when registration closes, which I believe is June 15th. But if you sign up a brand new scouter after April 20th, you'll be required to pay the full payment when you go to checkout. So again, that's kind of how the processing system works, is when you go to checkout, you'll be required to pay whatever payment amount status we're in. So again, right now, we're in the status of $25 per person. After the 18th, it will be $125 per person. And then after the 20th of April, it will be the full total for any new registration. Again, that doesn't have anything to do with a payment plan. If you've already registered that $25, follow the early bird pricing schedule as outlined, and you'll do that. So you can see my screen here. You can continue as a guest. So there was right here a question earlier for like Salehampton Roads. So week 1 is wait list only, and you can see it right here. You just come in here and say, I want 2 people on the wait list, and you click register. That's it. And it's warning you, you only have 2 attendees, continue to use wait list. You say yes, and then it will walk you through the checkout process. Now there are certain mandatory fields, which you'll see here in red, that you have to fill out before you can check out. Should be reasonably self-explanatory to use. And then once you fill out all this information, it will let you check out. Units, you'll be getting some email reminders with this, but there are certain fields that are not mandatory yet. So like, for example, for our specialty adventure programs, your first and last name for the participants isn't mandatory today. But as we get closer to summer camp, it will be mandatory. So again, if you sign up a new person, you'll be required, but also we'll be sending out an email update that says, hey, we need the names of your participants. So we know that some units, this early on may not have all the information. They may know they want a slot, but that's why we don't make it mandatory yet, but it will become mandatory in the future. So that is kind of the overview, John.
West Merit Badge registration will be through Black Pug as well. And so they'll see a screen for that's available on the
correct. So let me show you that.
On the 26th at 10 a.m.
Yep. So on the 26th at 10 a.m., I'm going to go, who's going to be a lucky person? Let's see if oh, look, 1965, I see you. All right. So I'm going to use your registration as an example. So this is going to look a tad bit different because I'm in the back end, but it should look very similar to your user interface that you're seeing. On the 26th at 10 a.m., when you go into the individual youth, which you're going to want to have everyone with a name assigned to them in here, you click on update information, and this area for schedule is going to be open for you. Right now, it is not open because number one, this doesn't have the fees. So see here, I can't get in here because the fees isn't paid. But on your end at the moment, this won't even show up at all because it's an admin view of you. But again, it is set up to open at exactly 10 a.m. on that date. When it does open, and I'll switch to admin override so you can see what it looks like. It's going to have this big button here, select classes, and then you just start loading the classes you want and then click done. And then that's it. It's that fast and that easy.
All right, perfect, Wes. That's a great overview of Black Pug. One other question that's in the chat: are there limits on the number of Scouts and Eagle Badge sessions? Yes, there are. Let me answer that in two ways because it could be asked in two different ways. There are class size limits. Yes, for certain ones, there are class size limits or session size limits. If the question is there a limit on Scouts who we will allow into an Eagle Merit Badge? The answer is no. That's at the Scoutmaster's discretion. Obviously, we encourage you to pick merit badges that are age appropriate for your Scouts, and not every Eagle Merit Badge is appropriate for an 11-year-old, for example. I shouldn't say appropriate. First time at camp some of the Eagle Merit Badges may not be their best experience, but we leave that to the Scoutmaster's discretion. Let me just see if there's anything else in Black Pug that we haven't hit. A T1 diabetes Scout, we'll get you to work directly with Lisa, and we'll figure out if there's anything we need to do on that one. And Lisa will get you with Melissa so that we can figure that one out. We don't need to try to solve that young person on this call, but yes, we will work with them and figure that out. All right, other questions, fire away.
John, are the t-shirt pre-orders going to be part of that at some point?
Christy, we do t-shirt pre-orders. AJ, thank you for reminding us. And we will get those from units in the future. Ken, I think you're on mute. Ken, you may be on mute.
You're right. There it is. Okay, sorry about that. Question for Eric, actually. In the last year, if somebody in a carpool was not feeling well when they arrived at camp, the potential was there for the entire car to be turned around and sent home. Is that going to be the same this year?
Yes. So that's why it's important to do that pre-screening prior to leaving for camp. Now, the little caveat there, I guess, of this, I don't know if that's the right word, but let's say you have a Scout that shows up and he's not feeling well, and he's got 3 other car companions with him. I'm going to want to pull that Scout aside and do an assessment of that Scout to find out what is going on with that Scout. Because it could very well be that through my assessment process, I find out that it is something other than a transmittable virus. For example, a bacterial infection. Bring him into the lodge, do an assessment, discover that he's got white spots on his tonsils. That's not likely COVID, that's more likely strep or something like that, which is still transmissible, but that's not quite the same as COVID. So the answer is yes, there is a possibility that an entire car could be sent home. But that would only happen after I've done some kind of an assessment and made a determination about what it most likely could be.
That answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hey, Teresa, go ahead, Teresa.
I actually have, it's a bizarre question. I have one scout who wants to come to camp, but she's going to be out part of the camp. So she only wants to come Thursday and Friday. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, we'll figure out how to work with her. Let's go ahead and register her and then work with me offline, and we will figure out how to set her up.
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Of course, we want to make sure scouts get an experience, so we will find a way to help her get an experience.
I'll just put all my questions together. That way I only talk once.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see. I like the fact that we're not doing the cohort, but that wasn't bad. We have, if we have, considering that we get sent out early, like for the allergies and the food and anything like that, like the medications, like I can go through our med forms. Can I send like let's say a spreadsheet to Eric and Lisa of those things early on? So that way, when you're like, oh, Teresa's here, she already has my list.
Yeah, we would welcome information early, Teresa, so that would be just fine. That'd be great.
You can do that for me, Teresa, but I still want the forms because I put them in a binder. So my staff has access to them.
I'll always give you the forms.
Okay.
Because you know,
We're
I have
good.
special dietary needs myself.
Yeah, I know you're special.
You love me though.
Well, yeah, but you're special.
And I'll come help
All
you
right.
cook this summer.
So while we're chatting with other folks, let me just ask Wes Parker. Wes, if you would go ahead and check the chat, there are several more questions about Black Pug and registration that are very specific. So I'll give you a chance to look at those, and then I'll come back to you in just a minute.
Yeah, I've been privately messaging them. They're taken care of.
Oh, you're the man. As always, you're on top of it.
John, I am going to have to bow out.
All right, Lisa, thank you.
You can give everybody my contact info if they need it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right. Other questions that folks have, and just speak up because I've got 2 screens worth of people, and if I'm not seeing somebody raise their hand, I apologize.
So John, I will explain one Black Plug thing. real
Awesome,
quick. There
Wes.
was one question about how to do like adults that split a week. So for adults that are swapping out, what we ask you to do is don't just like register one adult and just plan to like kind of swap them midweek, because every registration is assigned a name. There is a rate in here called adult daily rate, and you want to register the adults using this. So if you have 2 adults that are going to split for the week, so I would come in here and do 2, and then when I go to register, it's going to ask me which days they're going to be there. And you check which days they're going to be there. Ignore Sunday and Sunday and Saturday. Those are half days. They don't really count. So think about it, as far as full days are concerned. And these $30 price tag adds up to the full adult rate. So if you have one adult that's going to be there 3 days and the other adult that's going to be there the next 3 days, that's how you would register them. And again, the net money is the same. Now, keep in mind, it could get a little wonky if like you're trying to split one of your free adults, because the system does free adults kind of automatically. If that does become an issue, just email us and we'll get that taken care of either through a credit or something like that. But that is how to do adult daily rates for people that are switching midweek.
All right, Wes, thank you. In the chat, Eric Hoyt, our health officer, has already put his email in there. I just put Lisa Miller and my email contact information in the chat as well, so that you all will have that information in front of you. Christy Cooper, can I ask you to talk about fees, additional merit badge fees and so forth, and collecting them? As I recall, we both could collect some at camp when folks changed merit badges, and they can also pay on Black Pug after they've done merit badge registration. Does that sound correct?
Correct. So when the merit badge registration opens up, some of those will have fees. You can pay on there just like you have signed up for camp through the same registration link. Sometimes we get to camp and some changing needs to happen. We can take payments right at camp as well for any of those changes that occur there, and we apply it right to your account. Keep in mind, At the end of the week, when you go to print out your wonderful reports that Black Pug has for you, if there is a balance owed, you will not have access to those reports. So just make sure that you check out with me before the end of the week, so you don't get any surprises when you get home and say, I can't get a hold of these. So
Great. Thanks, Christy. I'm just checking the chat. If you've asked a question in the chat and I haven't seen it, feel free to speak up. I'm trying to keep up with them as they come in, though.
I have a question for Wes. I don't know that I saw a reply yet on the question about whether we can get another adult sign in to do the merit badge sign up. Our adult who initially registered everybody, I'd rather her not be burdened with the merit badge sign up.
So one of the great things about Black Bug, and it could be a little dangerous too, that initial email she got with registration, there's a link. That link works for anyone. You don't need to log in. You don't need to do anything. So as long as she forwards you that original email, and of course, check it before 10 a.m. on the 26th, but
yes,
anybody should be able to get in and update that registration using that link.
Okay. And we won't share it with anybody else.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want me to change, her information to somebody different, just send me an email. And what that will do, if I change your registration contact email address, it will generate a new link and send it to that person.
Okay. Thank you. That's great news.
All right. We know it's several months out, but what else do you have for us? And maybe while you're thinking of a question, I'll let you know, for those of you who were there last summer, we had our Scoutmaster bologna fry on Wednesday night. We will be doing our Scoutmaster and adult leader dinner again on Wednesday night this year. The Blue Heron Lodge cook crew has agreed again to come out and prepare that for us. So we'll have that special event again this year. The menu may be a little different, maybe a little more extravagant, but we thought it was well received last summer, so we were bringing that back. I see a few thumbs up. That's great. Okay, Carolyn, did you have another question?
I did. Are you planning any more info sessions for the leaders leading up to the?
Yes, I think we have so we haven't shared it publicly, but on our staff team group, I think we have 3 more that we have plotted out to do over the next couple of months. And then we also plan on providing a kind of check-in expediter, bullet point list of things that you can do to help us make check-in a little smoother. That's something we're trying to work on this year. It will include things like Eric shared, which is, don't put your med forms in plastic folders. Have your allergy forms, copies of your allergy forms with you. We'll talk about some other things that we noticed last year we can all do together. We can work on together to help expedite that process. I will say that one of the things we will change, that we anticipate changing, is the sort of the unit guide, kind of showing folks the camp. We did that last year because the cohort model had people report to locations that would be different from where we normally offer a merit badge. And we were trying to explain that process so that we didn't have too much chaos on Monday morning. Given that we're going back to a more traditional merit badge schedule and the merit badges are in the normal locations, we're going to focus more on getting people through the key processes of medical forms, dining hall explanations, swim checks as our highest priorities. So you'll see in that checklist that our strong recommendation is that you either come in your swimsuits or you have your swimsuits in a day pack on your back, because we're not going to guarantee that you're going to get to your campsite before you do the swim check. We found that we ended up having a lot of backloaded swim checks at 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, instead of getting folks there right away at 1 o'clock as we had designed it. And so we're going to try very hard to make sure that flows throughout the afternoon instead of getting backlogged. So we'll give you that kind of tip sheet as well. So a couple more Zoom sessions, some tip sheets, and we'll work on that. Yes, Teresa.
We can still send in our pre-swim checks, right?
Yeah, for units that do that in advance, as long as they meet the BSA requirements, if you pre-swim check, that's no problem.
Awesome. Thanks, because we do that before we go to camp.
I know you do.
John,
Do I think there's a chance of increasing class offerings for demand classes? I notice there's already several offerings, and we'll see. It's going to depend a little bit on staffing, is kind of the key answer. But we will do our best to take into account the wait list sizes and see if we need to open up additional sessions for things like citizenship in the nation and e-prep. I'll answer that one for Bob since he's on his phone. Yeah, who else? Somebody else raised their hand that I missed? Yeah, Ken?
yeah, and it went right out of my head. Oh, something, yes. Will we have time assignments to arrive as we did last year? That seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, I kind of, if you were there last year and you kind of thought that helped, can you give me like a thumbs up? I think our instinct was that it helped. So our kind of our going in is that we were going to do that, but I would certainly welcome your feedback. I see a few thumbs up there. So yeah, I think you should sort of expect that we give you a target window, and particularly if we nail this, getting folks through the registration process more quickly, that stagger should help us keep from getting the pool backed up at 5 and 6 p.m. So I think, yeah, Ken, let's plan on that as our operation. You do not need blue cards. The Black Pug system is how we will convey completions and partial information to you. The Black Pug system will let you print a blue card if you desire. Every now and then we have one or two troops that say like we're wedded to the blue card process. Work with Bob Buter offline. Our strong preference is that we not get in the blue card business and we do things through Black Pug, but let us know if that's a real problem for your unit.
Could we do a quick rundown of the things that you would like us to send ahead of time? Or is it pretty much all the forms? If you can get a copy ahead, great. And then we have to bring hard copies.
I put myself on mute. Sorry about that. Yeah, the biggest one in advance is the allergies form that Lisa spoke about. That's the most important form to get us in advance. After that, it's forms that you'll bring with you, which include the medical forms, as Eric said, parts A, B, and C for each participant. I'm trying to think of which other forms. Help me out there, Eric.
Swim test.
Yeah, swim test. But the other thing I was going to say, just from a health point of view, if you have high acuity or scouts with special considerations for health reasons, it's always good to reach out to me and let me know that ahead of time. We've had some situations in the past where we've had some scouts or some campers who have had some special health needs. And knowing that ahead of time, I could talk to the parents ahead of time and make some, connections and get some information. It just makes everybody have a better experience. So if you can let me know that.
And I hope you're picking up a theme from our entire team's answers, which is that, we take very seriously the role of the scout camp is there to serve the unit and to help scouts have a good experience. And so if there's information that you feel like we need to have in advance that will make the experience better, feel free to reach out to any of us. As Eric said, if there's a particular medical issue that we can understand in advance and make sure that scout gets the best experience, that's terrific. We've talked about allergies. We had some young people with some mental health challenges last year. We knew about it in advance and were able to make sure they had a great experience. And so, that's really the theme of our entire team, is figuring out how to help your scouts and your unit have a great week at camp. Yep. Who else? I thought I saw somebody else pop up. Feel free to speak up. No.
have
anything?
one thing I would add.
Yeah, Wes, yeah.
A couple things with PEX, which is not technically my job this year. Merit badges are not a thing that the PEX program does. It is an event-based program. So it's about actual activities. We're not hyper fixating on badges. And please, please, please make sure anybody enrolled in PEX is a swimmer. It's 2 out of the 5 days involve being certified as at least a swimmer. So if you have somebody with swimming difficulties, make sure you communicate that that is a big portion of the course.
Yes, thank you, Wes. I wanted to mention that also. So PEX, scuba, sail Hampton Roads, you have to be a swimmer to participate in those programs. We had several instances last year where that was not folk. Anyway, please help us. Those are really uncomfortable conversations when people get to camp and they can't pass a swim test, but they want to go sailing for the week. We can't do that. The folks we work with on those programs, everybody has to be a BSA swimmer in order to participate in those programs. Also on PEX, we have our team getting together. I think it's next week, our program design team. And so later in the month of March, we'll be releasing information that kind of gives you the rundown of the events or activities that will be part of the PEX program this year. So look forward to that. That's going to be coming out in March. Likely also in March, we will be releasing the patch designs for this summer and maybe some other information about swag that will be available this summer. So that's coming up. We'll release some of that information in drips and drabs just to keep you tuned in throughout March. And then, as I said, we'll have some more Zoom calls and you'll likely get some other update letters from me as time goes on to give you additional information. Just like we did last year. The feedback we got was that the letters and the Zoom calls were really helpful.
So John, real quick, I'll share with people just to double down on the blue cards thing. So I'm just using a registration here from someone I know from a winter camp. So even though we're doing everything online through Blackpug, it's super easy. In your registration, you'll have a reports tab. Once you are ready to print your blue cards, and obviously you paid everything, you click on this button that says blue cards, plain paper. It prints a PDF report of the literal blue card to print. It prints double-sided, so you can physically print the blue card. And if it's completed, it will be signed as it is here with this completion date. The merit badges, if it's a partial, this section here will list all of the requirements that were partially completed, and any other notes from the counselor can also be put in under here. So like, for example, if they finished it, congratulations, you're in this merit badge of Pipsico Scout Reservation. So even for those units that still need blue cards, if you have blue paper, you can still get blue cards from this system. It's pretty awesome.
Great, thank you, Wes. And if it's a completion, it'll show as a complete. If it's a partial, it will show as a partial. And it will list the requirements that were completed. If it's a completion, it does not list the requirements that were completed. They were all completed. So we had a little bit of confusion with that last year. So just clarify that up front. Other questions or information we can give you at this point? Oh, Karen, is that your hand up or a high five? Karen Day.
That was my hand up.
Oh, please. Yes. What can we do for it?
When you do the staff training, if you could stress to the boys, because last year I had quite a few scouts who got marked as completed, who I knew did not complete their merit badge. And so
that's on our end. We were, yes, no excuses. We were new to Blackpug also. We made some mistakes in that entry. And Wes and I actually met this week, and we'll be having more extensive training for the staff on the entry in Blackpug. So yeah, I appreciate that, Karen.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That was on my list of places, just like check-in, where we can do better this year. All right. Anything else this evening? Yep. Said Jonathan's got his hand up.
Hey, quick question. I was just wondering, so will we have access to those blue cards, through, the Black Pug system before we leave the camp? Because I was just thinking, like, what happens if the opposite happens and we say, we're home, and then the scout, we say, oh, we got a partial on this merit badge. And they're like, what do you mean? I went to every class. I did everything,
Yeah. It's a fair question. We keep all of our counselors keep a paper copy of the daily roster and completion sheets. So we've had that happen. Somebody sends me, or actually sends Bob Buter, the program director, an email, and we can go in and fix the system. You also have access to be able to see it Friday night and Saturday morning if you're inclined to cross-check stuff before you leave camp. And we have some units who do that as well. Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And the caveat to that is one of the pros of the 3-hour blocks is that merit badge sessions were ending Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And so that allowed us to, and particularly as we realized our issues, week 3 and 4, we got really good at cross-checking everything on Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night. So our data was much cleaner. This year, because we're back to hour blocks across the week, you should expect the data not to be fully entered and complete until later Friday night, right? Because the merit badge sessions won't end until Friday. We don't have the benefit of some of them ending on Wednesday and Thursday, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. But yes, you can have access through the system. We have 3 terminals in our Burton Center workroom, or I forgot our official title for that, Wes, or Scoutmaster room. And then there's obviously Wi-Fi available that you can log in from your own machine if you bring it with you.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I saw a question about what can adults do during camp. Wes Sherman, as a camp commissioner, is responsible for adult programs. And I don't know if he's ready to talk about that tonight, but we will have, do you want to take a stab at it, Wes, or? Yeah.
The specific plans are still in development. There is a leaders award, the Manitowoc Mantle. All the leaders are encouraged to work towards it. And I think we're going to make it kind of a choose some of the above kind of a reward where you can work on the elements that better suit what you're interested in doing. As always, helping out in program areas is encouraged. And if you've got a particular area you want to work in, that's something where the staff is more than often happy to have some set of extra eyes, and people with knowledge to help with knot tying or keeping extra eyes on the range are always popular activities, or watching the towers. There's going to be afternoon leader activities that we kind of show off, at meal times. And I think Scoutmaster Golf, Caveman Golf has been pretty popular, and a number of other things. Again, it's still in development. If there's anything people want to see, specifically in the realm of trainings, let us know to make sure we have somebody who's going to be capable of instructing those. We're more than happy to make sure the leaders leave better off knowledge-wise than when they came in all the time.
So Wes, would you go ahead and drop your email into the chat in case people do have some suggestions of adult activity or activities for adults that they would like to see at camp? Last year we had cornhole tournament. We had the caveman golf. We had some adult events during the Rumble in the Aquadome. We had some various leader trainings during the week that were responsive to what the group wanted. I believe one of them was merit badge training. One of them was one of the outdoor trainings. Anyway, we can sort of bring people up.
IOLS.
Right. And we can bring people up from the council training team for basically any kind of training if we know that that's something you're interested in. So we have some fun activities. We have some training activities. We always encourage a nap. Those are all good things for adult leaders to do. And there's Wes's email in the chat. Yeah, Eric.
And
a little side comment. If you are skilled, tradesman in any kind of way, you're more than welcome to reach out either prior to arriving. Would probably preferable or at camp to our camp ranger. Evan is very active, and he always appreciates people that are able to help, because you know, we'll have a random wash station that needs a PVC pipe replaced or something, and that's something that, you know, if he gives you the materials and you have skills, you can go and help him with. So we always appreciate leaders who jump in and you know, make our camp a better place.
Yeah, in fact, to that point, Eric and Roland, you haven't seen it yet, but you'll see it when you come assess us this year. In week 4 last year, we had a bunch of adult leaders build an entirely new nature trail off the back of the nature area. So we can come up with lots of great activities as well while you're there. I think we've hit everything in the chat. Anything else from anybody tonight? All right, well, let me close with this. We're super excited about you coming to Pipsico. We're super excited about where we are in the planning process for this year. We're pretty far ahead as a staff compared to where we were last year as we were trying to figure out our COVID process. So I feel really great about the team that we're hiring and the program that we're putting together. Really, really feel good about it. There are a couple of places I'll just put out there for you. We are still looking for a shooting sports director over the age of 21. They would have to have NRA instructor certification and go to camp school. We are still looking for that person to join our awesome team. We're looking for a couple of other, an over 18-year-old adult to help in the dining hall and work on Lisa's team. And we're still looking for some folks that have or are willing to obtain lifeguard certifications to work either in the pool area or in the aquatics at the river. We are loaded for bear on CITs. So I would tell you, if you have anybody in your unit who's thinking about applying for summer camp, if they're in the 14, 15-year-old range, we may have a couple more spots, but it's going to be dependent on what weeks they're available, and they have to come to staff week. For the rest of the team, we've got a few spots here and there for 16, 17-year-olds, for example. We're always looking for a few good candidates, particularly if they can work the entire summer. And the application to serve on staff is available on the pipsicobsa.com website. So as I said, we've got about 60 or 61 applicants already. We're feeling really good about the team. We have those few holes. And if you know somebody that we should talk to, please shoot me an email at the email I left in the chat box. Teresa, you have something?
I just wanted to say that last year when we came with your cohort issues and all the other stuff, we had a great time. It ran so well. If you didn't know that wasn't normal summer camp, you wouldn't have known any different. It was run really well, and I really appreciate all the hard work that everybody on the team did. I just wanted you all to know that. That's why we're coming back.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We definitely got better as the summer went, and we were really firing on all cylinders when you were there. So we got a great team. As I said, we've got about 38 folks who are returning. And I'll let you in on the back. I'll let you in the back room. The secret last summer was that when our scout executive came out to our staff dinner during staff week, and he had folks stand up. If you've worked on a summer camp staff before, there weren't very many people who stood up. So we pulled that off last year with a lot of people who had never worked on a summer camp staff. So the fact that we have like 38 returning who bought into our system and understand that we're trying to do great customer service and provide a wonderful experience to scouts, we think we're only going to be better this year. And that's the goal we're setting for ourselves. So Teresa, I appreciate the comment. And like I said, we are so ready to have you there this summer. So let me wrap up there. We will do a couple more of these Zoom meetings. So if you have questions that come up as you go, obviously email us or come to those Zoom sessions, and we'll continue to provide you updated information. And thanks for all you do for the boys and girls in the Scouts BSA program. We appreciate you very much. Okay, we'll see you soon. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.